I will never forget the day my son fell through our ceiling. Yes, I'm serious. I was cooking lunch in our new home, and then, yep, I heard a noise, turned my head, and there was my 11-year-old son's legs dangling through the ceiling. Now, did I ask if he was okay? No. Did I offer to help him? No, again. So what did I do? I'm ashamed to say I yelled at him. I lit him up with my anger-filled words. And hey, by the way, I'm your spiritual fitness coach, Nat Crawford. In our spiritual journey, we often encounter emotions that can either draw us closer to God or push us away from His path. One emotion is anger. Anger, if not managed well, can lead to actions we later regret. A memorable biblical example is Moses striking the rock in anger. You find this in Numbers chapter 20, verses 10 through 12. This story teaches us a valuable lesson about the consequences of letting anger drive our actions. So here's what it says in Numbers chapter 20. Then he and Aaron summoned the people to come and gather at the rock. "Listen, you rebels," he shouted. "Must we bring you water from this rock?" Then Moses raised his hand and struck the rock twice with his staff, and water gushed out. So the community and their livestock drank their fill. But the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Because you did not trust me enough to demonstrate my holiness to the people of Israel, you will not lead them into the land I am giving them." Moses, often a model of leadership and faith, shows us that no one is immune to the pitfalls of anger. At Meribah, instead of speaking to the rock as God commanded, Moses struck it, his action driven by frustration with the Israelites. This not only displayed a lack of self-control, but also misrepresented God's holiness to the people. It's a clear reminder of how anger can distort our judgment and lead us away from God's will. So, how can we not make the same mistake as Moses? First, before reacting in a situation that stirs anger, take a moment to pause and pray. This pause can create the necessary space for you to consider a response that aligns with God's will, rather than acting impulsively. As seen with Moses, a moment of anger can have lasting consequences. Cultivate the habit of seeking God's peace and wisdom in moments of frustration. Next, ask the question, how would God respond? Moses' anger led him to misrepresent God's holiness. In our anger, we too can misrepresent God to those around us. Strive to respond in ways that reflect God's attributes, His patience, love, and mercy. Ask yourself, does my response show others who God is? The day my son fell through the ceiling, thankfully, he was okay. But it was clear to me that my response didn't show my son who God is, and that caused me to go to God seeking forgiveness and to my son. This leads me to the last part of today's challenge. When you biff it, seek forgiveness and restoration from God and from those affected by your actions. Moses faced the consequences of his actions, but he continued to lead and serve God's people. Likewise, don't let your failures define you. Seek restoration and continue to serve in the capacity God has placed you. Moses' story is a powerful reminder of the impact our responses can have, not just on our own lives, but on how others perceive God. Anger, while a natural emotion, should not control our actions or distort our representation of God. So let's learn from Moses' experience and strive to manage our anger in ways that honor God and lead others closer to Him. Now that you know this, go win today.